You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we've got a lot of news to cover in this hour. We'll probably take some of your calls towards the bottom of the hour as well. And, of course, as Alex Jones pointed out in the last half hour when he was with us, when the ATF walked away from this framework to start banning ammunition, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to come up, the framework is a rationalization to ban particular types of ammunition. And once they create this quote-unquote framework, they're going to come after every kind of ammunition one by one. But they backed off this particular time. The opposition was overwhelming, so they backed off early. They had till the 16th to take comments, and they've already shut this thing down, said, we're going to go back, we're going to take another look at this, and we'll come back with something that's more responsible. But we're listening to you. They want to try to placate people, as Alex Jones said, but of course they are going to be back, and we need to get even tougher with them next time. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance, and this time everybody was vigilant, everybody responded en masse, and we can back down the government if we do that consistently, but understand the government is also going to come back. And of course, in the last segment, we were just playing John Bound's report, which you can see at the top of Infowars.com, as well as on our YouTube channel, talking about Hillary Clinton trying to run from her past. She's trying to flush these emails down the memory hole. Very, very amusing to watch her get caught red-handed in a lie. Just as one story is coming out from the Wall Street Journal saying that Bill Clinton has never, ever used emails. He's done twice, and they named the 2 times, said only within his presidency. She's saying that she needs this private server to communicate with Bill Clinton. It's like, yeah, right. And, of course, you've got people like Montel Williams who can't be bothered to look at that. Instead, he's going to go after Alex Jones. But there's a lot of commentary about this. Of course, one of the things that happened as she was fielding questions from people, she refused to answer really the toughest questions. This is an article on WorldNet Daily talking about Matt Drudge and what he tweeted out. He said, Hillary totally effed it up. Yeah, she did. She got caught red-handed yesterday. But she refused to answer the 3 toughest questions. Here's the questions that she would not answer. Number 1, would she have an independent arbiter look at her private email server? No. She's just going to send these things out and tell us that she's disclosed everything. We'll just have to take her word for it. Number 2, what links would she go to prove that she did not delete emails? Again, we'll just have to take her word on it because she's so trustworthy. We got her caught red-handed in a lie yesterday. So number 3, did she clear the server with the State Department security officials or with anyone for that matter? And of course, the answer to that is no. Everybody knows what this woman is about. Saturday Night Live also commented on it. Not only Matt Drudge, but Saturday Night Live had something on Hillary Clinton and the email controversy. This was up on CNN. We're not going to play the video for you, but this is what they said. They had somebody impersonating Hillary Clinton, and the actor said, those emails are as clean as a whistle. This is not how Hillary Clinton goes down. And it was an actress named McKinnon, and they said her wild-eyed Clinton said, laughing at the idea that the emails would be her undoing. Yeah, exactly. This is the candidate of the big bankers. This is the candidate of the military-industrial complex. This is the woman who is saying that she is standing up for women's rights, giving a speech at the United Nations yesterday about women's rights, while she's taking massive amounts of money from the most oppressive regimes against all human rights, but particularly against women, singling out women, these oppressive Islamic regimes that attack women. Unbelievable what they do to women, and of course, she takes massive amounts of money from them. She's going to be in their pocket. An election is an advanced auction of stolen goods. She's going to be stealing those goods from you, and she's going to be handing them to Saudi Arabia, to Bahrain, to these other people that she's taking massive amounts of money to. She's also going to be handing it to the bankers. And when we come back, I'm going to give you proof that the bankers are starting wars. We're going to talk about Obama's executive order declaring Venezuela a security threat to the United States. So what's behind that? The bankers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds. Is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Using unparalleled research in the development of a synergistic formulation based around the key concepts of super oxygenation, the next level in cleansing is here. With key ingredients backed by real clinical studies, the new Oxy Powder, available through InfoWars Life, was invented during Dr. Group's research on the toxification of our bodies. Many herbal colon cleansers are harsh on the body and contain cheap and potentially dangerous ingredients, oftentimes full of synthetic fillers, GMOs, additives, or worse. Gently start cleaning your body with easy capsules that start working while you sleep. Oxy Powder does not require time off work, and there's no need for bad tasting concoctions. Instead, Oxy Powder slowly releases monoatomic oxygen into the intestinal tract and body. Experience the astonishing cleansing power of superoxide and ozonide technology. Go to InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com to get started with Oxy Powder, or call 1-888-253-3139.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Welcome back to The Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in studio, March 11th, 2015. Of course, we've been talking in the last hour to Alex Jones, who is on the road. He came in and hosted the last hour. We have had a victory, and I will call it a victory when the ATF backs down 5 days early from their proposed ammunition ban. It's just a victory in a battle. It's not a victory in the war. The war is not over. The war against the Second Amendment, against all of our God-given rights that are guaranteed in the Constitution, that war will continue. We can't rest on our laurels. The price of liberty, of course, is eternal vigilance. Look at the way this kind of unfolded, too. There's a good article. We have an article up on Infowars.com with Steve Watson. There's also an article I talked about earlier from Gun Owners of America. And they said, of course, gun owners had until March the 16th to send comments to the ATF about the banning of AR-15 ammunition. But, of course, they learned that it had already been banned when we saw the regulations there, because they had removed the exemption of that ammunition. Back in 1986, they passed a law saying they were going to protect the police. That was a justification for it, but it was basically a gun control measure, an incremental gun control measure. That's the way they do all these things. And they said, the following things are banned, but we're going to exclude, and then they specifically excluded things. That's the way our government operates, of course, right? That's why you don't have rights, but you have privileges that are granted to you by the government. That's the way they maintain it. They say that everything is prohibited unless expressly permitted. And so what they did was they said, well, everything is, is prohibited, but we're going to expressly permit, and then they had AR-15 ammunition. Well, they removed that from their new regulations. When people noticed that and pointed it out, that say, hey, you've got a comment period that's not supposed to end until March 16th, but you've published regulations that have already removed that exemption. You've already banned it. And they said, that was just a publishing error. The error was in not in publishing it, but the error was in telling people what they were going to do ahead of time. And it might have been a publishing error. Maybe the people at the printers didn't get the notice that they were supposed to hold that for a little bit longer before they put it out. It's that kind of deception that they're going to come back with. And so the war is not over, but we have won a battle, and we should celebrate that victory, and we should learn from that if we speak up en masse, we can shut these people down. Just as we were talking about it yesterday, that's what happened at the Bundy Ranch, and that was just one incident. And again, they come back again. It's not going to stop it, but it's the way we push this thing back. Now, I said, as we were talking about Hillary Clinton and about the lie that she caught in yesterday, of course, she is the candidate that the big money is lining up behind on the Democrat side. Now, of course, on the Republican side, the big money is lining up behind Jeb Bush. It's an election is an advanced auction of stolen goods, as H.L. Mencken said. They're going to steal the money from you. They're going to hand it to the bankers. They're going to hand it to the military-industrial complex. That's why they're pushing for wars. We had a report yesterday on Infowars.com, Kurt Nimmo. Obama signs executive order declaring that Venezuela is a national security threat. How is Venezuela a national security threat, you might ask? Do they have intercontinental ballistic missiles? No. Do they have a massive air force? No. Do they have a massive army or navy that they could invade us with? No. Can they feed their people? No. They can't even feed their people. They don't even have water. They have to go across the border to get food and water. That was a report from about a year ago from Bloomberg saying, even though they're having severe shortages of food and water and medicine in Venezuela, we can count on them to make good on their bonds. They've been a real good investment for Wall Street. We've gotten nearly 700% return on investment. That was what Bloomberg was saying a year ago. So when I looked at this, I thought, Obama says that Venezuela is a national security threat. How are they a national security threat? Maybe there's something about that 700% return on investment that isn't working out so good right now. I hadn't really been following what was going on with the Venezuelan bonds, and maybe you haven't been following it either. But here's what I found. In February 12th, Reuters had this headline: hit hard in Venezuela, U.S. bond funds keep their nerve. And they say that what's happened is these U.S. Wall Street firms that have invested in Venezuela bonds, because, of course, they've been a really good investment, making 700% return from these communist leaders who are oppressing their people, not even capable of giving them food, water, or medicine, but they're giving us 700% return to the bankers on Wall Street. Those funds that had invested heavily into that had seen a 30% decline in their bonds value. So that was affecting their portfolio. You know, they've always paid, but now these things are down 30%. Moody had downgraded Venezuela bonds in January. And the buzz on Wall Street is that they expect Venezuela to default on their bonds sometime this year. That would be about the time that I'm sure that Obama would come up with some justification to invade Venezuela so he can collect on the debt for the bankers on Wall Street. Now, there's another element to this as well. China is coming in. China has given $45 billion in loans and bonds to the Venezuelan government over the last 10 years. Why? Because China needs oil, and Venezuela has lots of it. That's all they've got. So that's going on. That's one dimension of it. But the other dimension of it is the bankers. And, of course, the bankers don't want to get shoved out by Chinese investors. They want to get that oil because that's the only thing that they can get from Venezuela to pay off these bonds that they've given them. So what does Obama do? For the bankers, he declares that Venezuela is a national security threat. And I don't hear anybody in the mainstream laughing about that. And, you know, it's really not funny. I mean, it's absurd on the face of it, but that's the way we get into wars. We fight the wars for the bankers, for the military-industrial complex, and that's why you've got hundreds of billions of dollars going to the Clintons, to Hillary Clinton, and to Jeb Bush to run for president. They're protecting